We got asked a lot about what happened to Cortana, what's her fate. Well, her fate is obviously very clear at the end of Halo 4. The story is really about what effect did Cortana's sacrifice have on the Chief, and what effect does her loss have on him.
Cortana, please.
Welcome home, John.
It's more about the long-lasting impact that she's had on him and the whole universe, and that's kind of a metaphor for the effect she's had on fans now that she's gone as well. It's like, we're gonna miss her. She's left an amazing legacy in the fiction. We couldn't make a game where we didn't at least acknowledge that. There's more to the Chief's story, I think, that people are gonna find in Halo 5 that deals with how he copes with loss and how he deals with his memories and what those memories help him contextualize.
Our duty as soldiers is to protect humanity, whatever the cost.
The story opens 8 months after the events of Halo 4. Master Chief has returned to duty. He is back working with Blue Team, his oldest friends, and the last officially active Spartan 2s. Something happens and he goes AWOL. And our other fire team Osiris, are sent to bring him home. They are the guys that the UNSC decided they needed to call when Master Chief went missing. When you've got to bring home the best of the best and his team, who do you send? And this is the guy that they picked, was Spartan Locke. Vale is a language specialist, is able to actually speak Sangheili, studied it during the war. Tanaka's his engineer. The planet she lived on was Glass during the war, and escaped and lived to join the Spartans. And Buck, once it was said about Buck that if he was any better, he'd be a Spartan. I guess he got better.
You know that, right?
I think the most important thing about Nightfall is getting to see Agent Locke getting an understanding of what Spartans are, that dedication to duty and honor above all the kind of subterfuge and politics that the Office of Naval Intelligence has built into its DNA.
And at least one of us isn't getting off this rock anyhow.
And giving him some perspective on his former career as we bridge that into his future career, which you play in Halo 5.
He is going from being Agent Locke to Spartan Locke. He understands what it means to be a Spartan now.
My friend's trust is not the issue today, Spartan Locke. It is my trust you must earn.
In some ways, it's a diplomatic role, which is almost the opposite of what the original intention of the Arbiter was. And he is trying to save his civilization. He just doesn't want it to collapse. And he's not talking about the Covenant, he's talking about elite civilization and elite traditions and the things that are important to him as a member of that society. There's so much chaos that he's in some ways able, I think, to wrangle his status as the Arbiter to have some authority among his people, but by the same token, it's not an official title. He's not a duke or a king or a president, and so he has some significant struggles as he deals with literally a civil war on his homeworld. As we were looking at the sort of yin and yang of Agent Locke and the Master Chief, we started talking about a podcast as a venue for this kind of external storytelling, and the discussion started to form around what does Oni do with information and with power? What happens when that goes wrong, and what happens when the Office of Naval Intelligence loses control of that? Why do they behave the way they do? And is it automatically bad? And giving people a look inside that sort of politics, but framing it in a nice, easy to understand story.
We always have a dozen stories that we want to tell that will never fit in the game. And so we find these things, things like Hunt the Truth happen in the novels and Escalation, that are great places to put these little stories.
The original character that is now Benjamin Giraud, we knew he was going to be an investigative reporter of some kind, and as we were talking through that process, we're like, well, we could make him the guy from Halo 2, the war photographer from Halo 2. That was an organic discussion. We were just saying we need a war reporter who's embedded, and he was like, oh, we have one. And the Office of Naval Intelligence PR guy is a character from Forward Unto Dawn who's all grown up and become very cynical.
And that's kind of the healthiest thing we've got going on with our universe, is that every piece of it connects to everything else. So if you want it, it's there for you. Like, you can go deep dive in things. If all you want to do is play Halo 5 and you don't want to play the other Halos, you don't want to read the novels, you're going to get an awesome, complete story. If you want to go read all of the novels and never play Halo 5, which I don't recommend, you will still get lots of cool, awesome, complete stories. The Halo universe has kind of grown over the last few years and gotten big enough that it's supporting these stories now.
Mine was just beginning.